Hey cousins, so when I thought about doing this, it was like going to be really short, like maybe 3 minutes. But then this exciting thing happened. So I've got my notes written right here. So what was going to be three, maybe more like eight, maybe 10, because I kind of go off on tangents. So first I'm going to start with some background. Okay, so first some family history. I did not know my real grandfather because my grandparents split when my mother was a baby. My mother didn't know her father. So the grandfather that I grew up with was my step-grandpa, and he was great. He was fantastic. He was a chicken farmer in Petaluma. His father was a chicken farmer in Petaluma. It's great. So generations. My grandpa built his house. He had a farm. He was an amazing grandpa. But I never knew my real grandpa, and it was like the family mystery. Like, I needed to know. Because if you know me, you'll know that it's like, when I need to know something, I need to know it. So part of going on to Ancestry.com and getting the DNA test was maybe to see, like, at least if I could have, like, a place. I knew that my grandfather was from Sweden, and I knew that his family were musicians. So I thought at least if I could have a place in Sweden where they came from, that would be enough for me. But it wasn't. I mean, it was until a cousin contacted me and said, I think we might be related. And he had all of this information about my grandfather and his family, and it separated myth from legend. So I'm going to give you the myth first. How about that? Let me just pause for a second. Okay, so my grandmother met my grandfather when she was living in San Francisco, working at what she called Liebeson's. I don't know if it was actually called Liebeson's, but it was like a department store, one of the like first department stores in San Francisco. So she started working in the hat department or something, but then they saw that she was actually good with numbers, so she worked in bookkeeping. So she was living in San Francisco before the Golden Gate Bridge was there. She would go home on the weekends and take the ferry, blah, blah, blah. So she lived in San Francisco, and she met my grandfather on the street. This was San Francisco. I don't want to say back when it was interesting. But, like, San Francisco in the late 30s, early 40s was more interesting than it is now. It's a mysterious and interesting place to live. Anyway, so they met. They fell in love. They got married. Then, and if you see, I'll show you one of their wedding pictures. And honestly, I never saw my grandma in the I can't say I knew her 94 years. Okay, in like the 50-ish years that I knew her or whatever, I never saw her smile like that ever. So I knew that she loved this guy. So they got married. She got pregnant. They got divorced. And so we never knew anything about him. Okay, so my grandmother was an amazing painter, just like her father. And she painted China paintings. She did all sorts of stuff, right? So I was taking a design class, and we had to paint this thing. And she looked at me, and she goes, oh, honey, you did not inherit my artistic... You can't paint, basically. It was what her message was. But she said, but you did inherit your musical talent from your grandfather and his family, which was always interesting to me. But I always have kind of been gifted with musical instruments. Like, if you hand me a musical instrument, I'm probably going to figure out how to play it somewhat proficiently, like within hours. It's weird. So I always wondered about this, and I searched, but I didn't know anything. So then, drum roll. I hear from my new cousin Peter that yes, in fact, my grandfather's family was a family of musicians. So, my great-grandfather was a violinist, and my great-grandmother was a pianist, and they used to travel up and down the West Coast, like Washington, into Canada, blah, 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 doing duets, playing together, right? So that's pretty cool. But he also was a violinist for Rhapsody in Blue. And he was friends with Gershwin and somebody else. So let me look at my notes. Hold on. Gershwin and Benny Goodman, right? He played for the King of Sweden when he was a kid. right? And then he came to America and did his thing, blah, blah, blah. So I, in fact, did come from a family. So this information closes like a 75-year mystery, basically, because my mother is, well, okay, 77 now, year mystery with our family. And it's just like super interesting because even my new cousin Peter was like, this is like so good just to like heal this. And like, because, you know, he grew up hearing about Eric, you know, Eric, my grandfather, and his daughter, but like never knew anything. And then we met and we look like family and we like now have, like, we formed a bond. We're family. It's awesome. It's great. All because of, you know, a cheek swab. So when people freak out and they're like, how could you? I've met like 4 of my cousins because of that dang cheek swab. And actually, before I cut off, so my grandfather playing for the King of Sweden when he was a child, and that would be Oscar II, I have in my notes. I was trying to figure out who would be the... Anyway, it reminds me of that scene in The Red Violin. And but he lived. So if you've never seen The Red Violin, you know, just watch it because it's amazing. And I didn't completely spoil it for you. And that's really like an incredible movie. And then I have other things to talk about. So hold on one second. Okay. So in this picture that I'm showing you right now, imagine, okay, there it is. Okay. One of these guys is my great-grandfather. I don't know which one. Now, this is when he played for the Seattle Amphion Society, Seattle Symphony Orchestra. They sent me this when I kindly asked if they had any old pictures from that time, and this is what they sent me. My cousin has a guess, right, because he knows more of what that side of the family looks like, but I still have no idea. But one of the interesting things I found yesterday, and this is our exciting news, is that through Carl... that's my grandfather, Carl Bergman, I was able to go back and find my 15th great-grandfather. And his name was Garrett Awesome Davils. I love it. Okay, it's not really, but it's something like that. Van den Davler. I'm not going to butcher it. So Garrett is my 15th great-grandfather from 1435 Netherlands. What? So then, like, anybody descended from him is my cousin. So, hey, cousin. And this might conclude, I might have some other random thing that I want to talk about regarding this, but this concludes the 77-year mystery of who the heck my grandfather and his family was. And I think it's super cool that when I listen to Rhapsody in Blue, the original recording, which I will send a link to because somebody has it here on YouTube, that like, ooh, that's my great-grandfather. That's him playing that. I never knew him, but that's like a piece of him left as a legacy in the world. And now if you are related to him in any way, then now we're cousins. So there you go. We're all connected. Have a great day, cousins. Bye. Okay, so yeah, there's one more thing. So this is a picture. I'll make it bigger because I haven't scanned. This is a picture from my grandmother's wedding. These are my grandparents. Those are my grandmother's parents. Maybe that might be my great-grandfather. I have no idea. I know one of these is anyway, I'm going to show you this picture. And then we're going to try to find out. Maybe one of you has like better eyesight than I do and can help me figure out if one of these is one of the men that's in that orchestra from Seattle Symphony Orchestra. Okay, now I'm done. See you at the next episode where we're going to talk about maybe some more of the Netherlands. I don't know. We'll find out. It's a mystery. Come back.